A quiet crisis is unfolding in Ohio, and thousands of families are feeling it every year when a simple envelope arrives in the mail. Inside is a property tax bill that keeps getting bigger, even when nothing about the home has changed. Houses paid off decades ago are suddenly becoming financial burdens, retirees are being pushed to the edge, and even new laws aren't stopping the surge. The question many homeowners are now asking is simple: why are property taxes rising so fast? And who is really paying the price? Number 10. Even eliminating property taxes would create bigger problems. Some frustrated homeowners have suggested eliminating property taxes entirely, believing it would solve the financial pressure many families feel. While the idea sounds appealing on the surface, property taxes play a critical role in funding essential services across Ohio communities. Schools, emergency services, infrastructure projects, and local government operations rely heavily on this steady source of revenue. Removing it would create an enormous gap in funding that would need to be replaced somehow. If property taxes disappeared, state leaders would likely need to introduce alternative sources of revenue. That could mean higher state income taxes, sales taxes, or new statewide levies to replace the billions of dollars currently generated by property taxes each year. Those changes could shift the burden rather than eliminate it, meaning residents might still end up paying similar or even higher amounts through other types of taxes. Local governments also depend on property taxes because they provide predictable, locally controlled funding. Unlike some state programs that fluctuate with economic conditions, property tax revenue remains relatively stable. Without it, communities could face serious budget cuts affecting schools, safety services, and infrastructure. The debate shows that solving property tax problems requires careful reform rather than simple elimination. Number 9. State tax policy shifts burden toward property taxes. Another major reason Ohio homeowners feel overwhelmed by property taxes is the gradual shift in the state's overall tax structure. Over the past few decades, Ohio has reduced certain statewide taxes, particularly personal income taxes, through multiple policy changes and rate cuts. While these reductions can lower tax burdens in some areas, they also reduce the amount of revenue the state collects directly. When state revenue declines, local governments and school districts still need funding to operate essential services. Communities must continue paying for public schools, police departments, fire protection, road maintenance, and other local services. Without sufficient support from the state budget, many of these responsibilities shift toward local funding sources. Property taxes become the most reliable tool available for communities to generate the money needed to maintain those services. This shift means homeowners often carry a larger share of the financial responsibility for funding local government operations. Even residents who support tax cuts at the state level may still see rising property tax bills locally. Over time, the balance between state taxes and local property taxes has changed, leaving homeowners responsible for a growing portion of community funding through property taxes. Number 8. Retirees and long-term residents are especially vulnerable. Rising property taxes create a unique challenge for retirees and long-term homeowners who have lived in their houses for decades. Many of these residents purchased their homes when prices were much lower, and they expected their housing costs to remain stable after paying off their mortgages. Instead, rapidly increasing property values have pushed their tax bills higher, even though they have not moved or upgraded their homes. Retirees are particularly vulnerable because most live on fixed incomes such as pensions, retirement savings, or Social Security. Unlike working households that may receive occasional salary increases, retirees often see little change in their yearly income. When property taxes climb year after year, those rising bills begin to consume a larger portion of their monthly budget. Expenses such as healthcare, utilities, and groceries are already rising, leaving less room to absorb higher tax payments. For some longtime residents, the situation creates an emotional dilemma. They may have deep ties to their neighborhoods, friends, and communities built over decades. Yet rising taxes can make it financially difficult to stay. In certain cases, homeowners feel pressured to sell the homes they worked years to pay off, simply because property taxes have become too expensive. Number 7. Tax delinquencies are rising as homeowners fall behind. As property tax bills continue rising across Ohio, more homeowners are struggling to keep up with their payments. Counties have reported noticeable increases in delinquent property taxes, meaning thousands of residents are falling behind on bills they once managed without major problems. When tax obligations grow faster than household income, families often face difficult choices about which expenses they can afford to prioritize each month. Property taxes are different from many other household bills because they must be paid regardless of whether a homeowner still has a mortgage. Even families who have fully paid off their homes must continue paying taxes every year. When those payments climb into the thousands of dollars annually, and some homeowners begin missing deadlines. Over time, unpaid taxes accumulate penalties and interest, which makes the situation even harder to recover from. Local governments track delinquent tax lists, and in some counties, the total amount of unpaid property taxes has increased by tens of millions of dollars. That trend signals growing financial stress among homeowners. If taxes remain unpaid long enough, properties can eventually face tax liens or foreclosure risks. For many families, rising delinquency numbers show how property taxes are becoming increasingly difficult to manage. Number 6. New laws offer limited relief and mostly slow growth. Ohio lawmakers have introduced several new policies aimed at easing the pressure of rising property taxes, but many homeowners say the relief feels limited. Most of these laws focus on slowing the future growth of property taxes rather than reducing current bills. For families already paying thousands of dollars each year, slowing future increases does not immediately solve the financial strain they are experiencing right now. Some of the proposed changes include adjustments to school funding formulas, levy calculations, and tax reduction factors. These measures are designed to prevent property tax bills from increasing too rapidly when home values rise sharply. In theory, this could help stabilize taxes over time. However, if a homeowner already faces a high tax bill due to previous valuations or levies, the new rules may not significantly lower the amount they must pay. Another issue is that many of these reforms take time to fully implement. Local governments, school districts, and county auditors must adjust their systems and budgets before homeowners see noticeable effects. During that transition period, property tax bills can still rise. As a result, many Ohio families feel the new laws delay the problem rather than providing immediate relief. Number 5. Inflation and cost of living are making taxes harder to afford. Rising property taxes are becoming even more difficult for Ohio families because they are happening during a period of high inflation and increasing living costs. Over the past few years, everyday expenses such as groceries, electricity, healthcare, and transportation have climbed sharply. When families are already paying more for basic necessities, even a moderate property tax increase can feel overwhelming. A tax bill that rises by several $100s may not seem extreme on paper, yet for many households it adds serious financial pressure. The problem becomes worse when wage growth fails to keep pace with rising costs. Many working families have seen only small salary increases, while inflation has pushed their monthly spending much higher. Mortgage payments, home insurance, and maintenance costs have also increased, meaning homeowners face higher housing expenses from several directions at the same time. Property taxes become another major bill competing for space in already stretched household budgets. For retirees and people living on fixed incomes, the situation can be even more challenging. Their income often stays the same year after year, yet the cost of living keeps climbing. When property taxes increase during these periods, many homeowners feel they are falling behind financially despite owning their homes. Number 4. Local school funding relies heavily on property taxes. One of the biggest reasons property taxes remain high in Ohio is the way public schools are funded. Unlike some states that rely more heavily on statewide taxes, Ohio depends strongly on local property taxes to support school districts. This means homeowners carry a large portion of the responsibility for funding teachers, school buildings, transportation, and educational programs. When communities want better schools or need to maintain existing services, the solution often comes in the form of new property tax levies. School levies appear regularly on local ballots, asking residents to approve additional funding. Many voters support these measures because they want strong education systems and well-funded classrooms. When a levy passes, and property tax rates increase in that district. Over time, multiple levies can stack together, gradually pushing annual property tax bills higher for homeowners throughout the community. The challenge is that even homeowners without children in the school system still contribute through their property taxes. A retired couple or a young family without school-age kids may still pay thousands of dollars annually toward school funding. Because education represents one of the largest portions of property tax spending, any increase in school funding often translates directly into higher property tax bills. Number 3. Property reassessments are hitting homeowners all at once. Ohio homeowners are also feeling the impact of county-wide property reassessments, which can cause tax increases to appear suddenly. In Ohio, counties typically perform a full property reappraisal every 6 years, with an update in the 3rd year. During these cycles, auditors analyze housing market trends and adjust property values to reflect current market prices. When home prices rise quickly over several years, those adjustments can lead to dramatic jumps in assessed value. The shock comes from the timing. Property taxes in Ohio are calculated using the updated valuation, yet they are paid 1 year behind. This means homeowners might not notice any change immediately. Then suddenly, a new tax bill arrives reflecting the higher property value, often much larger than the previous year's payment. Families who were budgeting based on past bills are caught off guard when the increase appears all at once. In some counties, reassessments have pushed property values up by 20%, 30%, or even more. When that happens across thousands of homes simultaneously, entire communities experience higher tax bills together. For homeowners already dealing with rising mortgage payments, insurance costs, and everyday expenses, these reassessment spikes can create a serious financial strain. Number 2. Rapidly rising home values are driving bigger tax bills. Over the past few years, home values across Ohio have surged dramatically, and that growth is quietly pushing property taxes much higher. When county auditors reassess property values, they adjust the estimated market value of each home. As housing prices climb, those new assessments often come back thousands of dollars higher than before. Even if a homeowner has made no improvements to the property, the official value can jump significantly, which automatically increases the amount of tax owed each year. This trend accelerated after the housing boom that followed 2020, when demand for homes surged while supply remained limited. Buyers competed for fewer houses, pushing prices upward across cities, suburbs, and even rural communities. As a result, homes that were once valued at $180,000 or $200,000 are now being assessed closer to $260,000 or more in some counties. When property values rise that quickly, tax bills often follow the same direction. For many families, the biggest frustration is that rising values do not always mean rising income. A homeowner might technically own a more valuable house on paper, but their paycheck remains the same. That gap between higher property values and stagnant household income is a major reason property taxes now feel overwhelming for many Ohio families. Number 1. Ohio already has one of the highest property tax rates in America. Ohio homeowners face one of the highest property tax burdens in the United States, and many families feel the pressure every single year. According to recent national comparisons, Ohio consistently ranks among the top 10 states for effective property tax rates, averaging around 1.3% of a home's value. That number may sound small at first, but when applied to rising home prices, it quickly turns into thousands of dollars annually. For a typical home valued at $250,000, families can easily pay $3,000 to $4,000 or more each year in property taxes alone. The challenge becomes even clearer when comparing Ohio to nearby states. Many neighboring states maintain lower effective property tax rates, which means homeowners there often pay significantly less for similar homes. This difference creates frustration for Ohio residents who feel they are paying more while still facing rising living costs. Higher taxes also make it harder for first-time buyers to enter the housing market because the long-term cost of ownership becomes much heavier. Local governments and school districts depend heavily on these taxes to fund education, emergency services, and infrastructure. That system keeps property taxes consistently high. Even when state leaders discuss reforms, the overall tax structure leaves homeowners carrying a large share of the financial load year after year. Property taxes in Ohio have become a growing concern for thousands of homeowners, and the pressure is coming from multiple directions at once. Rising home values, reassessments, school funding systems, inflation, and shifting state tax policies are all combining to push tax bills higher. For many families, the problem is not just one factor, but the way these issues stack together year after year. What once felt like a manageable expense is now becoming a serious financial challenge for retirees, working families, and longtime residents alike. Understanding the real reasons behind these rising costs is the first step toward meaningful solutions. Without structural changes, many homeowners fear the burden could continue growing in the future. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have property taxes affected you or someone you know? Let us know below, and don't forget to check out our next video for more insights on important economic issues.